Please show your appreciation by clapping your hands really fast and roaring really loudly for the woolly Welsh Wizard of Word, Howard Marks. Mr. Nice himself. Okay.
Say it all right. Do it now. Now we do the question and answer session, which is probably the bit of any show I feel most because the rules whatever control the performer is meant to have for a particular audience. It is vulnerable to going pear-shaped. It's like can go completely fucking pear-shaped. If more than one person asks a question, then I can't discern a specific question. No one asks a question, like a twat. But what I found to be the best way, but we just have to see how it works. I just point vaguely in a direction, someone with a hand up will ask a question, I repeat it and answer it. There's no censorship. Obviously you can ask whatever the fuck you want. So, has anyone got any questions? When am I going to stand for Parliament? Well, I did stand in the 1997 general election. In fact, formed the Legalised Cannabis Party to do precisely that. Stood in 4 constituencies at the same time. Which one is allowed to do in UK, I don't know. I'm over here. You can stand in more than one, but you can only sit in one. It was a Legalised Cannabis Party. I stood in, as I say, 4 constituencies at the same time. A precedent set by Gladstone, I believe. And lost my deposit in each constituency. I mean, have you ever tried to get a bunch of stoners to register? Let alone turn up and vote. But then, it wasn't a bid for political power. I really don't want to become a politician. It was to draw attention to the issue of the illegality of cannabis. And I think from that point of view, it probably succeeded in some sort of way. It did draw attention, and people have debated either as a result or coincidentally, I don't know. But I did enjoy the political life because just about everyone I met, with the exception of the 3 people, was a lying wanker. I hate politicians. I don't really want to get into bed with them again. I just hate the fact. So that's largely why I don't, it's because I already have, and I don't want to do it again. Any more questions? Yeah, the 2 very separate questions with separate answers, okay? One, the lowest point of my life was, unsurprisingly, when I was in federal prison and got the news that my son had jumped off a roof for some reason, and he was a kid, about 4, too young to commit suicide, jumped off a roof, probably thinking he was Superman or something, and broke both his legs. And my feeling of impotence I had then, of not being able to do anything about it whatsoever, was horrific, and definitely the lowest point of my life. It wasn't a turning point because I was powerless. Turning point in my life, I think there were 2. One of them was certainly when I got acquitted of bringing in 15 tons of Colombian into Western Scotland. When I was obviously fucking guilty, I took it as a message from God to carry carry on smacking. So that possibly would count as the biggest turning point in my life. Oh, and when I was offered £100 to write a book when I was trying to do another fucking dope deal as soon as I come out of prison. That was another turning point, but I think the Old Bailey one more so as a turning point. Not on the path to reform, though, on the path the other way. Okay, welcome. Well, it was a very odd experience. I mean, I ended up with a doctor with the unlikely name, an Argentinian doctor with the unlikely name of Che Guevara. Wasn't the Che Guevara, but, you know, I couldn't help thinking of the Che Guevara. And he made it worse by trying to look like Che Guevara. Which was the right thing to do. I mean, he was there, you know, like, you know, chain smoking, you know, king size fucking cigars, boots undone, rock star hairstyle, and you know, just looked like him. And he was an Argentinian doctor like Che Guevara. The only possible difference was that this Che Guevara, the one I met, rather than the famous one, had two different coloured eyes. One was brown and the other was blue. And I don't know if the real Che Guevara did. If so, then it's really mind-blowing. The only person I've ever met with two different coloured eyes was David Bowie, actually. I think that was due to a motorbike accident or something, I don't know. But anyway, this guy became my mate in Argentina, and he was a doctor, and very much like the original Che Guevara, made his money by lecturing on allergies. But he also had a practice, medical practice. And used to go around and visit people in remote parts of Argentina and treat them. And I used to sometimes go with him just for a laugh. I just went with him. And he had, what do you call it, an ambulance. So it was a white transit van full of different supplies. I mean, there was all the usual thing, bandages, antibiotics, and other medicines, and plants, you know, some of which I recognize, you know, plants growing in flower pots, and very bizarrely, like snakes and toads and frogs and things in little cages. That was, you know, somebody travelled around killing people with. And this one day I was with him, we were visiting a 7-year-old girl and her family, and she was suffering from that disease, you know, where you get shingles, where you get this like fiery red blisters threatening to meet at the centre. She was in a high fever, high temperature, very distraught. And the father too, also very distraught. And I remember Che, the doctor, turning to me and said, you know, if those blisters meet in the middle, she'll die. You know, so he rushed off into the transit van, took in a cage with a toad in it, pulled the toad out of the cage, started massaging it, okay, like really almost sort of pervertedly. Started massaging this toad, and a white pus began to exude from warts around the toad, which he spread on this girl's stomach. And within seconds, the blisters, red things started to recede. And like, you know, she looked at me and said, yeah, it's okay. Like, my head's fucking racing now. Right? What the fuck is in that stuff? Lots of things went through my head, and I said, gee, is this one of those DMT toads? Okay, because I don't think the toad is the only one that exudes it. I think the chameleon does as well, and possibly some other weird reptiles. But this toad, particular type of toad, definitely exudes DMT from its warts when it's excited. There's no other animal, other than possibly things that are a bit like toad, that does that. It's also found in question is the fundamental component of ayahuasca, actually. Now, DMT, as you probably know, stands for dimethyltryptamine. The big difference between it and other hallucinogenic drugs is that, I mean, if I dropped acid like 20 minutes ago, and started seeing two dragons shagging each other, I think, well, I just dropped acid 20 minutes ago, that's why I'm seeing two dragons shagging each other. Actually, a projector and a table, But if it was DMT, right? Fucking, sorry guys, didn't mean to disturb you, you just carry on saying. It suspends the belief in the mind that this is actually a hallucination. Okay, you do actually apologize to dragons if this is all for real. Okay? Very interesting drug too. I mean, we produce it naturally in our bodies. Brain controls a constant drip of DMT into us, which increases measurably and significantly when we dream. So taking DMT, to get back to the question, is a bit like dreaming. Okay, it's a bit like that. And often at times, I mean, if you take it out of birds that normally migrate, if you take it out of their heads, then they no longer know the way to South Africa. How the fuck they did in the first place. They lose the ability to circumnavigate the world without any lessons in it. They lose that. If you give it to animals that hibernate, they spend winters if they're on the ground of Charlie every day. And then every zoological death is accompanied by a massive overdose of DMT. Like when any animal dies, absolutely anyone, then every DMT that's in it is fed to it. It's as if the brain says, all right, you're going on a heavy one, now take the fucking off. So all of that I had. It only lasts about 40 minutes, but it seems like several eternities. It's just very, very, it's not a party drug, it's just really heaviest experience imaginable. It's, I think, probably the closest you can get to death and come back. One of those. So that was a long answer. Yes, I mean, I think part of your point certainly is that America has sort of seen it now as an economic necessity to sort of, take charge of it really, which is where the danger comes in. I mean, no longer will it be a currency of the underground and this, that and the other. Now it's just going to be run by big business. We do have the chance to stop it, okay? I mean, it do require far more energy to stop big business taking over this shit than just to legalize it. Big thing. So one's got to first of all decide, I guess, whether one's happy for big business to take over or not. And I think until fairly recently I wouldn't be. But since, this remarkable discovery that the universe has made that bankers are fucking cheats and cunts and all this sort of thing, I'm not too sure if I am happy about it. So I think we have to set up. Well, one of the things I think worth doing, is to campaign for absolute legalization of it. I mean, decriminalization, much as I support it officially and everything and see it as a move in the right direction, but really there's no point condoning the consumption of something if you ban up all the dealers. Okay? Decriminalization is nonsense. We have to legalize it. It's growing, it's stealing, it's selling, and everything. So every fucker, can sell it. Give those big industries some competition. Okay. We lost the way with booze. Lost the way so much. So I don't see it as an easy solution. We just have to be sort of terrifyingly honest with each other. What the fuck do we want? I certainly don't want fucking big business taking over this shit. You know, not for a second. I'd much prefer to see a cottage industry of people fucking standing by roadsides like they sell cabbage or something. But in the meantime, yeah, we got to go along with what seems like vaguely bundled in the right direction. You know. Now, I never thought America would take the lead in medical marijuana, but it has. Spain, I think, is a close second. I mean, I don't know why the fuck we don't do it here, you know. See, there's always think, oh, well, we're members of the United Nations and they've made it illegal for every country to legalize dope. And that's true. But, I mean, what's going to fucking happen if we don't take any notice of that? I mean, are we suddenly going to get people with funny helmets standing outside fucking head shops or something, you know? You see, not every country in the world is a member of the United Nations. There are 3 who aren't, for very different reasons. One is Kosovo, which wants to be a member of the United Nations. It's just a new country, hasn't got there yet. Taiwan, which is complicated because China thinks it's part of China, and it's complicated. You know. The other one is the Vatican City. I've seen nothing would be more surprising than the Americans taking the lead than the fucking Vatican taking the lead. That will be fucking hardcore, right? You know, maybe we should just fucking forget the American. Let's just be honest. You know, what the fuck? You know, there's a treaty that says you can't do this that goes back to 1961 without anyone fucking spoke. You know, what's talking about? You know, it's hard. But at least you've got a good man with me. Right? At least he's there. Right in front of it. At least he's there doing it all the time. You know, that's him. I'm fucking sure. Well, I think if they're all sold in the same marketplace, there's a greater chance of it happening than otherwise. I mean, if it was legalized, probably like, say they were all legalized, right? Every drug in the world legalized, then probably marijuana could be sold in greengrocers or somewhere innocuous like that, and maybe heroin ought to be dispensed by doctors or policemen even or something, you know. There should be differences. It's not that I'm against the hard drugs at all. It's just, you know, I promise you, I'm not. But they are more dangerous in one respect, in that the amount you need to take to get high is very close to the amount that will kill you. So that makes it more, I mean, you know, you can't smoke yourself to death. I fucking tried, you know. You can't. But under a system of prohibition, yes, there is a social kind of cultural thing that might make you move on from one drug to another. Okay? But that's because of prohibition. There's nothing in dope that makes you think like, oh, fucking hell, that was good. I'd like to try something else. It's just nonsense, you know. There's no substance in the world that, if you like, makes you want to try something completely different. Let alone one being a herb and the other one something concocted in a laboratory in fucking Marseille or something. It's just absurd, you know. But under prohibition, there's a chance that random practice might make it more likely that you proceed to more dangerous drugs.
So would you vote legally yes to cannabis in the growing streets, fucking back streets, fucking fields and all that?
Absolutely anywhere the fucking plant would grow, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, otherwise you might be doing some other legitimate income, but you can't. See, we licensing, alright, even though it looks like a step in the right direction, licensing is a form of prohibition, in a sense. You have it here with alcohol, okay? I mean, like, Pachin to me is fucking fine, you know, we're not going to need these fucking license, but okay, we have it. We could have government-approved places for people who trust the government, for sure. But, you know, just punish someone for doing it himself, fuck that. Right, well, ideally it's going to be treated exactly the same as cabbage. The same sort of laws and everything like that. Like cabbage, but marijuana. I wasn't quite certain of your prohibitionists. I mean, like, as far as the prohibition, I mean, we know what the prohibitionists want, either for moral or sort of, vaguely social perfect reasons. They want to make a product illegal. We've seen them at work for almost 100 years now, and it hasn't been successful from even their point of view, right? And it has been very dangerous. It's just had a lot of sort of disastrous kind of consequences and hasn't worked from their point of view, and they can't fucking see that. I just don't know what to say. I'm talking about British politics. You see, we haven't had someone like me in Britain at all. We haven't had someone honest enough and appreciated by the sort of population to get in. We don't have a me. Okay? I tried to. I don't mean politicians worldwide. I don't have experience of them. I only have experience of British politicians, and believe me, 99.9% of them are lying market. Who would change their mind about legalisation tomorrow if they felt that the majority of the country wanted it. Well, I worked for the British Secret Service, so I have fairly intimate knowledge of that. I've got, I've known CIA people who were paid to do various things, but they probably weren't working under the auspices of the CIA. They probably were, I don't know. But plenty of examples. Because, they've either got to control it, okay? They've either got to stop it, or be in a position to participate in it. I'm not going to say, I'll forget all that, They're either going to stop it, which they can't do, or they're going to be part of it. It's their duty to gather information. You can't know what's going on in a country without knowing what's going on in the country. Yes, I can. I wrote a book about it. Was there anything in particular you wanted me to focus on?
What was the real stance on it?
On
Dope smoking in general.
Oh no, we used a dope smoker and, nothing against smuggling it. No, there was no, I didn't have to sit down and persuade you. But, it's like, you can't although I thought he was a member of the IRA, right? In fact, he's the only person in history, I believe, whom the IRA felt the need to say, no, he wasn't one of us. I don't say that about anyone else, not even Margaret Thatcher, because there's no need, but, So, I'm not going to argue with the RA, if they say he wasn't a member of the RA, he wasn't. I thought he was. I thought, yeah, he's smuggling guns, and it would be to everyone's advantage if he could smuggle in dope rather than guns. That was my position. He raised no objection to it. Yes? No, if I thought I could get away with it, I'd do it tomorrow, Can't get any partners or There's no reform in that way that's happening. So yes, I do miss it. The nearest thrill I get is stage fright, though, when things go wrong on stage and everything. That's a bit like driving across the border. Oh, it was worth it even if I didn't have my success today. Oh, I learned probably more. I came out of prison a much better person than the one who went in. I learned an awful lot in prison. There's quicker, easier ways of learning the same shit, but that's what I did. That's it, no sort of worries about that. You know, I didn't think, all right, I'll do this hard time and then I'll get some reward for it. Because I didn't know if I'd ever get out, you know, and it was just obvious to me what to do in prison, and I was to help people less fortunate than myself, you know, it's just like a kind of spirituality, you just do it, and there was no shortage of people to help that. I think that made me a far better person. I didn't really need the universe to reward me by making me a fucking best-selling author. I still can't fucking explain that, you know. I'm going to wonder when I've got to fucking pay for that. Maybe next lifetime. Maybe I'll come back as a marijuana plant and then make a book of it. No, they're old enough, you know, to have made the decision whether to or not, and I guess they decided not to. I wouldn't mind, no, I wouldn't encourage it, but I wouldn't mind if they became law teachers. In fact, one of my daughters is lecturer of law, you know, on evidence in London University, but probably has done more against stupid laws than I ever did. You know, so she is doing the same as me, but in a very different way. You know, and I approve of what she's doing, you know, completely. Oh, no, fucking hell, I hate shopkeeping, and I don't end up with that. No, I don't know. I'd rather be a fucking stand-up comic or a writer or something. Oh, I know they're walking up at greenhouse to shop. You know, think of the unemployment. You know. There'll be no shortage, you know. I wouldn't mind being a roadside seller, though. You know, like the very something to see. I love those sort of places. Speed. Speed, because I usually think it's coke before I sniff it. Yeah, I think it's the only one I really don't like. You know, of the recreational drugs that quite a lot of people like. I think it's just, you know, obviously there's some prescription drugs that I don't like. You know. But I like trying new ones too, you know. Well, again, sort of assuming the highest possible quality, either ecstasy or cocaine. Okay. Acid I like, but I only take it about once a year now, because there's so much effort reinventing myself up there. But say it's something I'm prepared to take on a weekly or monthly basis, or even daily basis, then ecstasy and coke, rather than the strongest possible hash, seems to be fun. But I find uses for it, right? Like, for example, if I have to do the accounts, I mean, I love doing accounts on an ecstasy come down. Right? Nothing more satisfying than filling in a spreadsheet on an ecstasy come down. Yeah. I think it's important to use the come down too. Well, if I was forced to, I mean, would I want to change anything? No, because I'm perfectly happy now, and, you know, I don't want to sort of turn the clock back and think about all that one. I'm all right now. I'm perfectly happy now. If I had to change something, it would probably be my ex-wife's incarceration. You know, that took me by surprise, was terribly unjust, so if I could change one thing, it would be that. Well, I suppose, I mean, discounting the sort of, ayahuasca and stuff and the kind of, I suppose, acid and everything that got that up sort of people who are schizophrenic and all that, discounting that, there's like, as people are sort of living to older and older ages, there's a greater period of morbidity, if you like, in people's lives. And you start, like, if you live beyond 60 or 70, you start worrying about death, and it's a whole new thing. There's a vast sort of like body of knowledge about how you cope with death for so long. And I know David Nutt, for example, and other people I know, they're experimenting with psilocybin in particular, and finding that it is removing a sort of discomfort about the inevitable death, that's going to happen. So maybe that, because there's lots of miserable old fuckers around. That's one. I think just in just any sort of mental disturbing that you have, there will be psychedelic drugs that will ease the way out of that.
Do you think it's succeeding? Do you think it's spreading in the medical field?
Its use? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, the experiments that created it, they wouldn't have thought about it 2 years ago. And in Switzerland they do a lot too. I don't know anywhere else that does to any degree of sort of thoroughness. Oh yeah, Czechoslovakia does, doesn't it? It's universities where they make it with ESP and everything like that. Yeah, I mean, it's a massive future out there because it's so poorly understood. Probably sort of like, again, like a pure coke, the strongest possible house. Only one cocktail. Pure coke, best possible ecstasy, the strongest possible house. And no speed. What's inspiring person I met in prison was a guy called Jim Nolan, who, if you're very succinct, but he was the worldwide president of the Outlaws motorbike gang. And his charisma, his strength, and his native intelligence were very inspiring. I mean, like just a wonderful, fearless person. Or someone who learned never to show his fear, never to show his jealousy, just someone who exuded wisdom, in a very strange way. Well, when I smoked it before, almost before I'd heard of it, kind of, like in the South Wales valleys in the early 60s, it wasn't on every street corner. I mean, no fucker had heard of it, I mean, so I didn't take any until I was 19. I didn't know much about it. The only drugs I'd taken before then were alcohol, obviously, some purple hearts, and coal gas bubbled through milk. And drinking the milk after bubbling coal gas through it, which just made me sick, but it was popular for a while. Well, it would, whether it become massively rich, I don't know, but it would be, it would increase the standard of living there, obviously. It could only be a benefit. It's not that suddenly everyone's going to be fucking in the streets and not doing anything. It can only help, I mean, of course, it's not the only problem in the world. It's certainly not the only problem in Ireland. But let's just remove that problem and just make a deal. First experience? Well, I mean, I suppose that acquittal thing at the Old Bailey is one of them, but there are things another. Yeah, when I was in prison, I missed all the dance stuff, all that music. I missed. I mean, I got some of the hip hop because we were playing that in prison. And it was in Indiana, so I listened to a lot of country, even more western, but I didn't get the bump stuff at all. And music was my first love, right? Pretty followed by sex and drugs, but it was my first love. And so when I got out of prison, I asked my kids, and they were teenagers, and they worked, and I first went to prison, so I asked them, what's been happening in the music scene, kids? And they said, Dad, you never understand unless you drop one of these little fellas. You will not understand. Therefore, I first took ecstasy with my kids. Which was a wonderful experience, I mean, obviously I hadn't seen it for years, so emotionally caught up, and I strongly recommend it to any dad, perhaps me with your kids, and I did understand the music, slightly perturbed when the windscreen wipers were playing it on the way back home, but basically understood it. That was probably the best experience I had. I have no idea how it's affected my brain, right? I don't know whether I would be much cleverer now if I hadn't taken any, or really fucking stupid. I just don't know, right? It's hard. I've certainly not felt that I've abused my spirit, my soul, or body in any way. I think we meant to take drugs, otherwise, well, we would get stoned, wouldn't we? But I don't know, there's no control, isn't there? I'm going to crawl and see if he's getting on being straight. Alright, last question, man. Only by a very nice guy who wanted a photograph of me. No, I'm actually a better touch wood of it. I've never been fucking stopped.